Good afternoon. Have we no conscience? Coming over the horizon, beginning to be evident but not entirely visible, is an emerging debate. It centers on what some call the science of moral sense. These three articles seem at first unrelated. A New York Times article, The Moral Instinct, a Psychology Journal article, Buddhist and Psychological Perspectives on Emotions and Well-Being, and an Ensign lead article, The Light of Christ. All three teach moral conscience, and that should be a warning to us to be aware of what the, quote, science of moral sense proposes. First proposition. Descriptively, the science of moral sense says, quote, moral intuitions are being drawn out of people in the lab, on websites and in brain scanners, and are being examined and explained with tools from game theory, neuroscience, and evolutionary biology. Second proposition, prescriptively, quote, the science of moral sense can advance morality. Understanding proposition 1 may help us counter the basic contradiction inherent in proposition 2. Some say a moralization switch employs distinctive mindsets which differentiate, for example, that which is immoral, killing, that which is disagreeable, say Brussels sprouts, that which is unfashionable, say bell-bottoms, and that which is simply imprudent, don't scratch mosquito bites. Clinicians say moral feeling often comes first, followed by rational explanation. That is, feeling first, then some other kind of rationalization. Moral psychologists conducted web experiments involving 200,000 individuals in 100 countries. They found that broad range of people share 5 basic moral norms. Harm, that is, it's bad to harm others and good to help them. Fairness, it's good to reciprocate favors, reward benefactors, and punish cheaters. Loyalty to group or community, respect for authority, and purity. I'm glad a wicked world cannot extinguish a moral attraction to purity. Current research suggests preschoolers early distinguish societal convention from moral principle. 4-year-olds say it's not okay to wear pajamas to school, what most of us would consider a societal convention, and also it's not okay to hit a little girl for no reason, what we would consider a moral principle. Yet if we ask the same preschoolers, say the principal allowed you to wear pajamas or allowed you to hit the little girl, would these actions then be okay? Most children say if the principals allowed them, it would then be okay to wear pajamas to school, that is, okay to change the social convention, but still not okay to hit a little girl for no reason. Rapidly advancing neurobiology, biochemistry, and gene therapy raise new opportunities and new questions. For example, should church members consider using new drugs or gene therapy to break addiction, counter homosexuality, help shy teenagers become more outgoing, or enhance student performance? The question of students using performance-enhancing drugs to concentrate during tests after studying all night is already here. Do any such drugs contradict the word of wisdom? Another question. Will new societal definitions of injured or impaired brain or moral functions invite church handbook explanations or explications regarding moral accountability? For example, as they may be related to baptism, church discipline, temple worthiness, for those potentially affected. In that light, consider briefly, if you would, please, 2 real-life cases involving accountability after head injury and stroke. The first involves the San Francisco Bay Area food plant manager who ran a plant making delicious salami. In a car accident, he suffers head injuries, which everyone says leave him a slightly different person. One day, inspectors find food safety violations at his plant, place his plant on probation, and say they will return to re-inspect in a month. When the food inspectors arrive a month later, the food plant manager is indeed waiting for them. The plant manager kills the food inspectors according to a careful plan. The issue: has the plant manager's accident and head injury impaired his moral judgment such that the jury should not hold him responsible for murder? A second case. A grandfather serves as a church patriarch and is venerated in his family and community. He suffers a stroke, which seems to leave him a slightly different person. One day the grandfather fondles a grandchild. Both the child and the family are traumatized. The issue: has the church patriarch's, the grandfather's, stroke and brain damage impaired his moral judgment such that he should be held accountable in a slightly or different way? In conclusion, a quote, "science of moral sense" seems a contradiction. It is worth monitoring, especially if it is used to explain away conscience, the light of Christ, or the Holy Ghost. In case you're interested, the jury found the food plant manager guilty. I don't know how the bishop and stake president helped the grandfather. That's today's update. Hope you have a wonderful week.
Comments? Teddy Roosevelt, when he was president, had a list of what he called weasel words. That one word sucks all the meaning out of another. He talked about the weasels sucking the eggs. And voluntary universal military conscription was one of them. And another. He had a list of them. This is the case. Science and morality. Those two words, they might go together, but science has got a lot to learn first. You've got to at least admit that there's something spiritual. So, any other comments?
It's timely that, as always, Garrett's so timely and up to date, but there's just a lot being written about this right now in the popular press across a wide spectrum.
Well,
the one subject in which the handbook currently treats this, there is some reference to the bishops making a judgment of whether to baptize or ordain a mentally retarded child.
notice that with very few exceptions in all of church administration, the Lord has organized presidencies, 3, with a president and 2 counselors. And that's great insurance against something like this. All right.